The books of contemplation. These books contain three forms of contemplation: lamentations, prophetic assertions, and meditations on death and eternal life. These books reflect a skepticism, sadness, and contemplative posture born of the collapse and transformation of the social order and the resultant chaos and loss of cultural center this brought. The books of Ka-Kefer, Rasoneb, and Ippur represents lamentations on how the low state to which the society had fallen. As Ka-Kefer Rasoneb says, Ma'at, righteousness and order, has been cast out, and Isfet, evil and chaos, is in the council hall. The way of God is violated and his commandments are brushed aside. The land is in turmoil and there is mourning everywhere. Ippur laments the reversal of the social order when outsiders have destroyed the internal harmony and stability of ancient Egyptian society. Behold now, he says, how greatly the people have changed. The robber has become rich and the honorable person a thief. The foreigners have imposed new ways and created new relations, and the righteous Egyptian of yesterday cannot be found anywhere. In the book of Dialogue with the Soul, a man expresses despair at the changed social circumstances and contemplates death. This is the earliest known literary example of a soul in turmoil, confronting unjust suffering, and raising the question of why and what is to be done. It predates the Hebrew book of Job approximately 1500 years, which represents a similar concern and question, and to which it has been compared. The book of Songs focuses meditation on the inevitability of death and the need to enjoy life now for the most part, and suggests a posture that is expressed later in the Hebrew book of Ecclesiastes. The last song, however, focuses on praise of learning and the learned and argues it is learned achievement which causes one's name to last forever. Finally, the book of Neferti offers prophecy of the coming of a righteous Savior King, a Messiah to reestablish Ma'at and cast out Isfet. This is the oldest and clearest messianic projection and antedates the Hebrew model of David by more than 1,000 years. At least one traditional Egyptologist has argued that such messianism was evident in Ippur, which is at least 500 years earlier. But the passage he quotes to support it seems more of an appeal to God than the Pharaoh. However, there are other passages in Ippur that suggest such a messianic hope and projection. Also, a note of interest in this prophecy is the prediction of a Messiah king born of a mother from Nubia, which was the source of repeated Egyptian renaissances after periods of degeneration and despair. The book of Ka-Kefer Rasoneb. 1. Would that I knew what others are ignorant of, something that had not already been said, that I might speak and have my heart answer me, that I might explain to it my distress, and shift to it the burden on my back, and speak of that which afflicts me, that I might tell it what I suffer and breathe a sigh of relief afterward. I meditate on what has happened, on the things which have come to pass throughout the land. Changes are taking place, and it is not like last year. 1 year is more troublesome than the next. The land is in turmoil and being destroyed. Ma'at, righteousness and order, has been cast out, and Isfet, evil and chaos, is in the council hall. The way of God is violated, and his commandments are brushed aside. The land is in turmoil, and there is mourning everywhere. 2. Every day that dawns brings events from which the face is forced to turn. I speak out strongly against it. My limbs are heavy laden, and my heart is heavy with grief. It is painful not to speak about it. Another heart might bend or break, but a strong heart in the midst of difficulties is an ally to its owner. Then Kakepharat-Sonab said to his heart, "Come, my heart, that I might speak to you, and you might respond to what I have said. Interpret for me what is happening in the land, why those who were once so brilliant are now brought low. I meditate on what has come to pass. Misery has come today, and turmoil will not end tomorrow." 3. Everyone is silent about it. The whole land is in great trouble, and none are wise enough to know it. None are angry enough to speak out, and every day one wakes to suffering. Thus my suffering is long and heavy. The weak and wretched lack the strength to save themselves from that which overwhelms them. It is painful to keep silent about what one hears, and yet it is of no use to answer the ignorant. People only love their own words. Everyone builds on crookedness, and right speaking is abandoned. I have spoken to you, my heart. Now answer me. A heart that is approached must not keep silent, for surely the servant and the master share the same fates. And thus many are the things that must weigh heavy on you also. The Book of Ippur. 1. Lo, what the ancestors foretold has come to pass. The land is full of bands of evildoers, and the plowman goes to plow with his shield. Faces are pale, the bowmen stand ready. Wrongdoing is everywhere, and there is no man or woman of yesterday. Lo, the women are barren and none conceive, for God does not make children any more because of the state of the land. There is blood everywhere, and no shortage of the dead. Indeed, the burial cloth cries out before one approaches it. Lo, the land turns like a potter's wheel. The robber has become rich, and the honorable person a thief. The foreigners from without have come to Egypt, and the Egyptian of yesterday cannot be found anywhere. Lo, the great and small say, I wish I were dead. And little children say, he should not have caused me to live. Lo, the unrestrained says, if I knew where God is, I would serve him. 2. Behold now how greatly the people have changed. One who once did not sleep even on a box now owns a bed. Those who once owned robes now are in rags, and those who once did not weave for themselves now own fine linen. Behold, those who once did not build boats now own ships, and the former owners just look at them, for they are no longer theirs. Those who once lacked shelter now have homes, and those who had homes are in the blast of the storm. And those who knew nothing of God now make offerings to him with the incense of others. Lo, why does God seek to create men and women, when the gentle are not distinguished from the violent? But he brings coolness in the midst of heat, and all say, he is the shepherd of all humankind, and there is no evil in his heart. Though his flocks are few, he spends the whole day tending them, but there is fire in their hearts. Oh, that he had perceived their nature in the first generation! Then he would have destroyed the wicked, stretched out his arm against them. Surely he would have destroyed their seed and their legacy. The Book of Dialogue with the Soul. 1. I spoke to my soul that I might answer what it said. To whom shall I speak today? Brothers and sisters are evil, and friends today are not worth loving. Hearts are great with greed, and everyone seizes his or her neighbor's goods. Kindness has passed away, and violence is imposed on everyone. To whom shall I speak today? People willingly accept evil, and goodness is cast to the ground everywhere. Those who should enrage people by their wrongdoing make them laugh at their evil deeds. People plunder, and everyone seizes his or her neighbor's goods. 2. To whom shall I speak today? The one doing wrong is an intimate friend, and the brother with whom one used to deal is an enemy. No one remembers the past, and none return the good deed that is done. Brothers and sisters are evil, and people turn to strangers for righteousness or affection. To whom shall I speak today? Faces are empty, and all turn their faces from their brothers and sisters. Hearts are great with greed, and there is no heart of a man or woman upon which one might lean. None are just or righteous, and the land is left to the doers of evil. To whom shall I speak today? There are no intimate friends, and the people turn to strangers to tell their troubles. None are content, and those with whom one used to walk no longer exist. I am burdened with grief and have no one to comfort me. There is no end to the wrong which roams the earth. 3. Thus, death to me today is like health to the ill, like going outdoors after confinement. Death to me today is like the smell of myrrh, like sitting under the sail on the windy day. Death to me today is like the fragrance of lotus, like sitting on the shore of feasting. Death to me today is like a well-trodden way, like returning home from war. Death to me today is like the clearing up of clouds from the sky, like a person discovering that which was unknown. Death to me today is like longing to see home after spending many years in captivity. 4. Surely one reaches the beyond will be a living God, punishing the offenses of the wrongdoer. Surely one who reaches the beyond will be one who stands in the sun bark of Ra, causing abundant gifts to be given to the temples. Surely one who reaches the beyond will be considered wise and will not be prevented from appealing to Ra when he or she speaks. And my soul said to me, cast your complaints aside, my comrade and brother. Make offerings on the sacrificial fire, and cling to life as I have said. Love me, your soul, here. Set aside thoughts of death, and desire death only when your body joins the earth. Then I will alight on you after you have become truly weary, and we shall dwell together forever. The Book of Songs. 1. Song of Pharaoh Antef, the Vindicated. Prosperous is this good prince, for his kind destiny has come to pass. One generation passes and another remains since the time of the ancestors. The exalted ones who live in former times now rest in their pyramids, and the blessed nobles are likewise buried in their pyramids also. Yet those who built those pyramids, their places are no more. Behold what has been done to them. I have heard the words of Imhotep and Hardadef, 2 sages of old, whose teachings are repeated often. Yet where are their places now? Their walls all have wasted away, and their places are gone as though they had never existed. There is none who returns from there that he or she may tell us how they fare, or what they need, so that our hearts may be at peace, until we too reach the place where they have gone. Let your heart be happy then, and forget your day of departure. Follow the desire of your heart, for long as you live. Put myrrh on your head, and clad yourself in fine clothes. Enjoy the wondrous things fit for God. Increase the number of the things you enjoy, and let not your heart become lax or lose its vigor. Follow the desires of your heart, and do that which is good for you. Fulfill your needs on earth according to the commands of your heart, till the day of mourning comes for you. For the God of the departed hears not the mourning, and wailing saves no one from the grave. Celebrate then the days of rejoicing, and do not tire of them. For lo, none may take their goods with them, and none who depart ever come back again. 2. Song for the priest of Ra, Neferhotep. Generations pass away since the first day of creation, and other generations come in their places. The splendor of Ra rises in the morning and goes to rest in the west. Men beget and women conceive, and every nostril breathes air. Day dawns, and the newborn go to their appointed places. Celebrate the days of rejoicing, then, O priest. Put the finest scents to your nose, and garlands of lotus flowers around your neck and shoulders, and on the body of your beloved sister who sits beside you. Set song and music before you, and all evil things behind. Remember only joy until the day comes when you reach the port in the land that loves silence, and give bread to those who have no field, for so shall you gain a good name for the future forever. 3. Also for the priest Neferhotep. I have heard those songs which are in tombs of ancient times, and of what they say when they praise life on earth, and belittle the city of the departed. Why is this done to the land of eternity, the just and right, where no fears are found? Their quarreling is an abomination, and no one places him or herself against a fellow. For this is a land which has no opponents. There is none who will fail to reach this place. The duration of what is done on earth passes like a dream, but to those who reach paradise in the west is said, welcome, safe and sound. 4. Song of praise of the learned. As for those learned scribes of the time that came after the powers of heaven, and who foretold the future, their names have become everlasting, even though they have departed, having completed the days of their lives, and all their relatives are forgotten. They made not for themselves pyramids of metal with stelae of metal from heaven. They did not know to leave heirs, children that might repeat their names. Instead, they made heirs out of the books of instructions which they composed. They took for themselves the scrolls as teacher-priest, and the writing boards as a loving son. Books of instruction are their pyramids, the reed pen their child, and the stone surface on which they wrote their wife. The great and small became their children, for the scribe became their leader. Man decays, his corpse becomes dust, and all his relatives die. But a book causes him to be remembered through the mouth of those who quote it. Better is a book than a well-built house, than a tomb in the west. Indeed, a book is better than a great house with a solid foundation, or a stela in the temple. Is there any one like the sage Hardadef, or another like Imhotep? None stands among our relatives who is like Neferti or Keti, the foremost of them. I submit to you the name of Ptah-im-Dehudi and Kakef-Feru-Soneb. Is there another like Ptah-hotep, or one who is equal to Ka-Iris? That which came from the mouths of these learned men who foretold the future came to pass, and it is found as a clear statement written in their books. Though they may have concealed their words of power from everyone else, they can be found in their books of instruction. Death might have caused their names to be forgotten, but it is their writings that causes them to be remembered. The Book of Neferti. 1. And His Majesty Pharaoh Snefru said, "Come, Neferti, my friend, and speak to me some beautiful words and well-chosen phrases, which might please me upon hearing them." And the teacher priest Neferti deplored what had come to pass in Egypt, speaking on the condition of the East, where Asiatic people roam in strength, frightening those about to harvest their crops, and seizing cattle even at the plow. He said, "Be moved, my heart, and mourn for this land in which you were born, for there is silence before evil. What should be condemned is feared, and the great are overthrown in the land of your birth. Tire not, then, while this evil exists. Rise up against that which is before you, for lo, the great no longer rule the land, and what was established has now been undone. May Ra begin to re-establish this land, for it is ruined, and nothing of value remains. Not even the black of a nail has escaped this fate. Lo, the land is destroyed, and there are none to care for it. There are none who speak and none who weep. How then fares this land?" 2. I shall speak of what is before me. I will never foretell that which will not come. A strange bird will breed in the Delta Marsh and make its nest beside the people of Egypt, for the people will let it approach through lack of action, and afterwards all good things will pass away. Beasts of the desert will drink at the river of Egypt and take their ease on the shores, for they will have no one to fear. The land is in turmoil, and no one knows what will come to pass, for what the future will bring is hidden. And as it is said, when sight and hearing fail, the many, those who cannot speak, will lead. 3. I show you a land torn up by turmoil. That which should not be has come to pass. People will take up weapons of war, and the land will live in confusion. People will spill blood for bread and laugh out loud at pain and misery, and none will weep over death. Everyone's heart shall care only for him or herself. A person will sit with his or her back turned while one murders another. I show you the son and daughter as enemy, the brother and sister as foe, and the child slaying mother and father. I show you the undermost turned to the uppermost. 4. But a king shall come from the south named Amini, the vindicated one, the son of a woman of Nubia. He will join together the double crown, and the land will be enclosed in his grasp. The people of his reign will rejoice, for Amini, the son of man, will make his name for all eternity. The evil-minded plotters of treason will hold back their speech through fear of him. The Asiatic invaders will fall before his fury, and the Libyan invaders will be consumed by his flame. Rebels will yield before his wrath, and traitors will be brought low by his might. Then Ma'at, righteousness and order, will return to its place, and Isfet, evil and chaos, will be driven away.